Bead Gallery loves a jewelry junkie. Bead Gallery is located at 100 North Broadway in tax-free Salem, New Hampshire. Bead Gallery offers more than 300 classes and all the beading supplies you need to make beautiful jewelry.
Artisan's Accomplice is proud to sponsor Jewelry Junkie. Artisan's Accomplice is a complete website system designed for jewelers and crafters. Create your own website with all the features you need to display and sell your products online. Try it out at artisansaccomplice.com.
There. Finally finished. Ooh, look at that. Ooh.
Pam.
Yeah, hi.
Pam, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just making a bracelet with loops.
Wow.
And, yeah.
You've done such a nice job. I really love your wire work.
Thank you, Jen. Well, you know, the way you teach, you make it seem so easy.
Oh, you're too kind.
I know.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing that today we're going to be learning how to make wrapped loops.
Ooh.
So by the end of this episode, everybody will be able to make a bracelet as
Just
beautiful
like
as yours.
this?
Yeah.
Wow. Hi, welcome to the third episode of Jewelry Junkie. I can't believe it. And it's called Here We Go Loop-de-Loo. And it's all about making loops. I'm your host, Pam Healy. And with us today, of course, is Genevieve Martineau, our bead consultant.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, Pam. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too. And basically, today, what we're going to be talking about is wire work.
Yes, we're going to teach people how to make wrapped loops.
Awesome.
And those are really great ways to make links and make wire work. You can make everything from earrings to bracelets to extenders. It's a really useful skill to know how to do.
Yeah.
And it's extremely secure.
Wonderful. Isn't that great?
Yes.
Now, before we begin, we would like to show you what we have for our raffle this month.
Okay, great.
Take out the
Well,
book.
this month we got a donation from Comeback Publishing, and they sent us this beautiful book called Inspired Wire. It has a lot of tips and tricks and techniques. It's written by Cynthia Wooler. And so if you look inside, it starts out teaching a lot of the kind of things that we go over in the show, where we talk about tools, different kinds of wire, how to do some basic techniques. And then it has a whole bunch of great projects in here showing how to make different kinds of links and bending wire in different ways.
Oh,
so
what an awesome book.
it is a treat for somebody to get. And to win this, possibly, what do you need to do?
Well, you need to go to our website, jewelryjunkietv.com, and register for our newsletter, and your name will come up, hopefully, in the raffle to win this.
Yes, and so we're very excited.
Yeah, we
are. And you make sure you sign up, because we'll be notifying you of different shows and different events that we are doing.
Yeah, what's coming up in the future.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So now we're going to discuss wire wrapping. And basically there are different tools that are needed to use.
Yep.
There is the chain nose.
Yep. You want me to go over them a little bit?
Yeah.
All right.
I know there's the chain nose.
Yep.
The
So
needle
today,
nose.
so today I brought tools that are color coded. So during my
Okay.
demonstration, people will be able to figure out which tool I'm using.
Right.
The red plier here is called a chain nose plier. It's a very tapered tip, and it's flat on the inside. This is a great tool for getting into small places and using it to, tuck in little cut ends. The pink handled plier is called the flat nose plier. And this one the tip of it is quite wide. It's also smooth on the inside. Sometimes if you go to the craft store and you buy those toolkits, sometimes you'll find that they have little grooves on the inside.
Yes.
I do not recommend those kind of tools because they just mar up the wire.
Okay.
So make sure to find a tool that is smooth on the inside.
Okay.
All right? The purple pliers today are going to be round nose pliers. And the round nose pliers are great for creating a curve. So when you're working with your wire, you want to make sure to follow the contour of the plier. And so with this one, because it's a curved tip, then you can follow that to make your loops. This is really important for your loops.
Okay.
And then the blue plier that I brought today is a cutter.
Ah, that's
So
very important.
Yep. And so Pam, I see that you brought your tools today.
I most certainly did. I figured I'd help you out today.
Excellent. So
And,
we're going to make, today our demo is going to be to make a chain of links
Oh, that's
that will end up
beautiful.
being a bracelet.
Now, can you tell our viewers what type of wire there is? Like, I know there are different types of wire. There's temper, there's gauges
Yep.
of wire. There's really a lot to learn.
Absolutely. So when you're looking for different wires that what you want to use in your projects, you as the designer are going to have to
Right.
decide whether you want the look to be silver, which could be sterling silver or silver plated,
Right.
or if you want to get a silver colored craft wire. You can also get gold colored wire. When you're looking for a high quality gold wire, you can get gold filled wire. That's not quite as expensive as, say, 14 karat gold.
Which is very expensive.
Yeah, exactly. There's also copper wire, brass
Right.
wire, gunmetal wire, colored wires, all different kinds of
Yeah.
wires. So it's all up to you as the designer what you're looking to use. Today, we're going to be using sterling silver wire.
Ah,
Okay?
One
It's
of
a
our
nice
favorites.
quality, feels good to work with, and we really like it.
okay, so is that a hard, a soft,
Yep.
or?
So what this is when you're buying your different kinds of wire, particularly with the sterling silver and the gold-filled wire,
Right.
there are different hardnesses to the wire. So you can buy a soft wire,
Yeah.
a half-hard wire, or a hard wire. And basically when that comes, it's how difficult is it to bend.
Right.
So today we're working with half-hard. Generally I work with half-hard or soft.
Because it's more pliable.
Yes. And what I wanted to let you know is that when I'm working with a thinner wire, working with it at half hard is fine. But
Okay.
as the wire gets thicker, then I like to work with it soft because it's much easier to bend. When it's a very thick wire, it's
Yes.
harder to move.
Right.
Okay? And so that's really where the terminology for half hard and soft comes into place.
Okay, and how about the temper,
The gauges.
the gauge? That was the temper. Now the gauges.
Yes. So basically, there's different thicknesses of wires. So if you
Okay.
get a very, very thin wire, super thin,
Yeah.
then that could be as thin as 28 gauge or 26 gauge, 24 gauge. So basically, the very thinner the wire, the higher the number. So let's say
Right.
you go the other way and you're starting to get wire that's very thick. That could be 12 gauge or 14 gauge. It's a very thick wire. For example, the wire that is on your necklace today is probably a 14 or a 12 gauge wire.
Right. Right. And I
and-
think this is
This ring, yes, that's probably an 18 gauge wire.
Right.
So today we're going to be working with 20 gauge, which is a nice medium
in
weight
between.
size wire. So it's 20 gauge and it's half hard.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And this is a great size wire for something that you want to have some good strength. I use it for ear wires as well.
Okay, that's
and then
good to know.
a 22 gauge is also a nice sort of medium weight wire for
Sort of
something
like
that's
an
a little bit more
in-between wire.
delicate. Yeah, exactly.
In between wire that's a lot easier to work with. I find because I don't have a lot of strength in my hands that the more pliable, the easier it is for me
Yes.
to handle anyway.
So with the half hard today, it's going to be a little bit stiffer perhaps than you're used to. But
Okay.
I like it because
It keeps it
it's
shape?
already been work hardened.
Oh,
a
all
little
right.
bit by being half hard. So one of the important things to know is when you're working with wire and as you're bending it, it's becoming harder and harder,
The more
and
you
stiffer
use
and
it.
stiffer. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so that way it retains its shape really well. So,
Okay.
which is another reason why I like to use the half hard in these cases.
Now, sometimes sterling changes color.
Yes. It tarnishes, you mean?
Yes, I didn't want to be so bold, but yes, it does tarnish, especially on me.
Yes.
Is there a type of sterling that doesn't tarnish?
Well, okay, so sterling silver is actually 92.5% silver, and the rest of it is other metals. It could be nickel. That's primarily what's going to be in there. It could be some copper in there. And so when there is more silver in the wire, it tarnishes less. So for example, fine silver, which is 99% silver, it takes much longer to tarnish. But there are ways that you can store your jewelry. For example, put them in little Ziploc baggies.
Ah, that's right, to keep the air away from it.
Yes, and as you wear your jewelry, the oils from your skin actually keep it shiny as well.
Oh, wow.
So wearing the jewelry that you make is really important.
That's a very good thing to know. I didn't realize that. I knew about the bags, but I didn't realize that wearing it helped out too.
So.
And how about safety issues? I know that I know that sometimes when you cut the wire, bing, you know, got to be careful.
Well, it is always good to wear some sort of eye protection when you're working with wires.
Right.
One thing that I do want to say is that when you are working with your wire, you practice some wire safety.
Yes.
And so whenever you do go and clip your wires, you want to make sure you use your hand or your finger to hold onto those wires so that they don't go flying into your neighbor's eye. Now, I sort of do that naturally. So when I'm doing my demonstration, I'll sort of talk about that as I go.
Okay.
Okay.
That's wonderful. That's great. Okay, so
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do
Absolutely.
is I will do a demo,
Okay.
and then if you want to sort of follow along,
I most
that
certainly
would be
do.
great. You brought your own tools, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm going to work right here, and I'm going to start with my 20 gauge half hard wire. And I basically am going to be making a loop and a wrap on both sides of the bead. So this is a little bit more complicated than anything we've demoed before. And I'm going to use about a 4-inch piece of wire. So I'm not really measuring it, I'm just eyeballing it.
Okay. Now, you told me earlier that you don't straighten the wire out. There are some people that straighten the wire out as they use it, but you don't.
I don't. You certainly can. I just find that when you do that, you're just hardening it more. It makes it more difficult to work with.
Okay.
I will sometimes do it while I'm really not paying attention.
Right.
If for some reason that the curve that's already naturally built into the wire, if it sort of bothers me. But I don't specifically take it out.
Okay.
Some people do.
Yeah, some wire people
Right.
do, yes.
All right.
And go ahead. I was going to talk about comfort, making sure, you know, you're not hunched over. Or your eyes you can't see, because I Mr. Magoo glasses.
You didn't bring your readers
No,
today?
I didn't bring my Mr. Magoo's today. But
Well, you do want to make sure that you're comfortable. You have everything you need, a task lamp
Right.
or eyewear.
the art.
An art light, yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry, that's, I know, I'm not supposed to use brand names.
Alrighty, now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my chain nose pliers, and on my 4-inch wire, I'm going to bring it down about 1.5 inches.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm going to take my thumb, and I'm going to push on top of the plier. So basically, I'm using my hands to bend the wire. Then I'm going to switch to the purple pliers, which are my round nose pliers. I'm going to position that bend right on the lower prong of the plier.
Okay.
All right, and so I'm going to take my wire and take my fingers and follow the contour of the plier, bring it all the way around until it's pretty much touching the other wire.
Okay.
I like to call this short bit the tail, so I hold on to the tail, and then this is a very subtle movement. I'm going to loosen my grip of my round nose pliers and move it out of the way. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I bring my wire around to form my loop, I don't want it to bump into the bottom of the plier. So I'm just going to show everybody that if I put this here, right there, it's going to bump the wire. So I don't want to hit that.
No.
So then I take it off and I can see that I have a perfect loop. And so I want my loop to look a little bit like the head on a body, and so this long bit would be the neck, and that's a little head. And so where the two wires intersect, I like to call that the chin. Okay? So then what I'm going to do is pick up my flat nose pliers. I refer to these as holding on to pliers.
This is true.
And so basically I use that to hold on to my loop. It's a nice, has a good amount of area so that you can hold on to the whole thing.
Yes,
And I'm going to take my hand and bend that little tail around the loop. And I usually wrap it about 3 times. You can do it 2 times, you can do it many times. It's all about you, the designer. And so then I'm going to go and I'm going to trim it, and this is where I want you to make sure that you're safe. So trim off the excess, pick up those flat nose pliers again, and then we're going to tuck. So to tuck it in, I like to sandwich the little coil. So we've made this wrap, which I also call a coil sometimes, and I'm going to sandwich it. So basically I take the tip of the plier and I just squeeze right here where the cut end is.
Correct. Yeah.
So that I don't have anything sticking out to snag on your clothing.
Oh, okay.
All right, and then I'm going to put my bead on, and I am going to go ahead and wrap the other side. So the other side is exactly the same thing. I will walk through it again. I pick up my chain nose pliers, take my thumb, and make a bend, about a 45-degree bend. Then I pick up my round nose pliers, I rest it on the tool, bring the wire up and over until it hits the bead, and move my tool out of the way. Bring my wire past the bead and switch to my flat nose pliers. So I'm going to hold on to my loop, and I'm going to take my wire and bend it all the way around. Are you getting that? All right. So let's see.
I'm not quite as dexterous as you are, though.
It's okay. You're doing a great job.
I have my own method.
All right. So
After
then
a
I'm going to
while.
go in and tuck that in. All right. So once you've accomplished a wrapped loop on each side, I'm going to show people how to go from a wrapped loop on each side to connecting it all together.
Okay, so you cut it off. I usually do that. Save that for the end, just in case.
Just in case. It looks pretty good to me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I would say go ahead and trim it. Do you need some cutters?
Yes, ma'am.
Here, you can use mine.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to do it again, and this
Look
time
out, Jim.
I'm going to show how you connect to make these links. All right?
There we go. Okay, nip and tuck.
Yep.
Nip and tuck.
All right, so I'm going to cut myself another piece. I'm actually going to cut 2 pieces.
Nip and tuck.
All right.
Love how you do this. I can never do this as well as you. It always seems, the bead always moves on me.
That's okay if the bead moves.
Yeah?
Yeah. It
I
doesn't,
suppose
it's
not
not
supposed
really
to be,
about the bead moving. No, I mean the bead can move, it's fine.
it doesn't have to be tight in
No,
there.
it doesn't.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to do it again. And
Okay.
this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it right on to this other
Yes,
end, okay?
yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, again, I'm about 1.5 inches down, and I take my thumb and I bend my wire about 45 degrees.
Yeah, that's
Pick
good.
up my round nose pliers, and I'm going to move my loop all the way around, reposition my tool, and then I'm going to hold on to the loop, pick up my flat nose pliers, and then I'm going to wrap this around. Some people find that it's easier to use a tool to wrap this around. I find it easier to use my fingers. Either way is fine, no
Okay.
problem. Yep.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to trim and tuck. Again, making sure this doesn't fly. I like to use my tools as an extension of my hand. And then I'm going to just sandwich my coil. I find that this part is the part that most people have difficulty with right there.
Right.
All right, and then I'm going to pick up another bead, slide that on, and then, so it's always easier to make your first loop
Yes.
without connecting, because otherwise you have all this stuff hanging
Oh,
off,
okay, so you connect it after
I
you do
connect
that.
it on the second side.
Oh, all right.
In case anybody's wondering why I didn't connect it already. So then I'm going to go up and over, bring it past the bead. And then at this point, I want to connect it.
Right.
So you don't do your wrap until
It's connected.
it's connected. So in order for gravity to help me, I basically hold this tail to the sky, and then I'll go in, and sometimes I'll actually use my chain nose pliers to hold on,
Right.
because now I've got this in the way, and I want to make sure that I don't accidentally crush any of the silver that I've already worked so hard to make.
Right.
So then I'm going to wrap that around
Very good.
like that, and
She
go
makes
ahead,
She makes it look so easy.
and then I trim it. All right.
But when she demonstrates, when she demonstrates, she makes it easy.
No, it is easy. Let me see
Yeah.
your wrist. I just want to check the size on it.
Here we go again.
All right. Okay.
Okay, just a little bit more.
All right. So I want to show something really cool so that people can think about variations on what they're doing.
Okay.
So basically what I'm going to do as I do this wrap, and I'm going to move this one along a little bit more quickly
All right.
because I want to show you guys something really super cool. So on this one, because it's going to be for one end of my bracelet, I'm going to hold on to the loop, wrap that around. All right, and I'm going to go in there. I think it helps for people to see it a number of times.
Yes, absolutely, because the first time there's so much to absorb, you really can't take it all in
Yep.
at once. And
All right, and then on this side, when I get to the end of the bracelet, I'm going to put my clasp on there now.
okay.
And so when I make my clasp, I want to make sure that there's enough room for my clasp. So this final loop is a little bit bigger because I want to make sure there's a little bit of wiggle room for my clasp. And I brought a little lobster.
Oh, good. Oh,
So-
anyone hungry?
No, this is a little lobster claw clasp. And so I put that on there. And I'm going to hold on. Does everybody see that? Little lobster going with gravity.
Why they call it that? Oh, I know why. I
Because
bet.
it looks like a little pincher.
Yeah, no, it looks like a claw.
Yes.
Duh.
All right, and so then,
I never thought of that.
all right, now I'm just going to hold on to that and tuck it in. Getting in real small little details here. All right, so I probably have to add one more bead. I'm just going to check it, the size on your wrist, but
Here we go again. Yeah, I get a small wrist.
so I probably would add one more bead on it, but if I take this, I can actually clasp it to that side,
Yeah,
and so that's a little bracelet.
absolutely. And look at how it took very little time to make.
Right, and so that is a demo. So
I think the important thing to remember is that when you do anything with wire work, take your time and don't get nervous, don't get frustrated. What I did, this is the tip of the month, what I did was I purchased a small spool of copper wire because copper wire is less expensive. And I basically did loops with the copper wire until I was able to basically get a command of how to do that.
Yes.
And it's amazing. The more you do it, the less tension there is, the more fun it becomes. And I'd highly recommend that.
Yep, and my tip is that when you do learn how to do this, make sure that every time you make a loop and a wrap, that you do it the same way. Basically, hold on to your tools the same way, bend your wires the same way, because the more you do things exactly the same way, at the end of the day, that your piece, all your pieces are going to look exactly the same.
And another thing too, like some people on the round nose tool will put a little with a marker, a little line on the marker to denote where they make their loops, so that the loops are the same every time they do them. So that's another little tip.
Yeah, we're full of tips today.
Oh yeah, we're a little tipsy today. Sorry about that.
All right.
Anyway, to recap what we've done today, we've made loops. We've talked about wire, the gauges of the wire, the temper of the wire, the types of wire there are, And also the fact that there is now colored wire out there, so you can use that. I mean, I just found that very exciting.
Absolutely.
And also our raffle. Don't forget to go online, www.jewelryjunkietv.com.
Yeah, I'll put it on your name.
And sign up for our newsletter. I can't do two things at once. Our newsletter, and hopefully you will win. So this is another episode already. I can't believe how fast they go by. And I want to thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Pam.
And I want to thank everyone out there, and good beading.
Bead Gallery loves a jewelry junkie. Bead Gallery is located at 100 North Broadway in tax-free Salem, New Hampshire. Bead Gallery offers more than 300 classes and all the beading supplies you need to make beautiful jewelry.
Artisan's Accomplice is proud to sponsor Jewelry Junkie. Artisan's Accomplice is a complete website system designed for jewelers and crafters. Create your own website with all the features you need to display and sell your products online. Try it out at artisansaccomplice.com.